Hey Dora, welcome.
How are
Very
you?
nice. I'm good. I'm good. Very nice to have you here. Um,
Good to be
why don't
here.
we start with you maybe explaining for people what your role is, your Chief Risk and Compliance Officer, but yeah, what does that mean at a bank?
So, the CRO, and you'll see that I refer myself as CRO, but I just want to get out of the way that in banking, the CRO is the Chief Risk Officer. So if you're joining because you expected to see Phoebe, our Chief Revenue Officer, please dial in again. Um, she is far younger and brighter than me, so there's that going. The CRO leads the second line of defense. It's a function that reports to the board, and the objective of the second line is to build frameworks that allow the business to manage risks and in line with the risk appetite that's set by the board. It partners with the business by providing independent oversight on risk-taking activities, and then reports and escalates back to the board anything that they feel that is outside appetite. And it also importantly keeps an open relationship with the regulators. I guess that if I were to explain this to with less technical words, I'd say the CRO is the designated driver in a night out. Many people say it's the kind of the designated grown up in the room. Uh, the job is to make sure that the regulators don't really turn up because they're upset. They can always come for tea and biscuits, of course. Protect the consumers from harm and keep people's money safe. And obviously, that everybody sleeps at night. Maybe not them.
That's
Yeah,
I like those simple tests of like, can everyone sleep? Can we have a friendly tea and biscuits with the
yeah. Supreme buzzkill.
yeah. Well, it's funny because I think we were talking about this the other day when it's like some of the misconceptions that people have of like, oh, it's the crystal ball holder or
Yeah, yeah. The crystal ball holder. Yeah.
yeah,
Hoping that you are always wrong, actually, because of crystal ball holder. Because a crystal ball holder is always happy to be wrong. We can confidently predict 95% chance that if you do that, you'll turn up in the first page of Financial Times. And usually you don't, so being wrong is a good thing. Because obviously you're kind of seen as the purveyor to, or the therapist, actually. Uh, can you talk me? Mo, can you talk me through your relationship with risk?
I know
Why
you're
do you
all for the
only
fun.
escalate when it's too late?
No.
Ah,
It's funny that that might be actually the core difference between risk and marketing. In marketing, our crystal ball needs to be accurate. Otherwise we won't get the right won't get the right level of demand.
well, we're a bit like an insurance. We're always looking at things that we hope that they'll never happen. And actually, the value add is thinking about those because those make a huge difference between success and failure in the bank.
That makes a lot of sense. It's very, very important. Yeah. And Dora, what's your background? How did you get to being chief risk officer at Griffin?
So I worked in financial services for 21 years now. Started in finance and moved to risk and compliance about 18 years ago. I've been a CRO four times since 2011. I spent 4 years in insurance in a governance role. And before joining Griffin, I spent 3 years in consultancy, doing some prudential work and leading internal audits, person reviews, and also I had a portfolio of firms that were going through authorisation, so either investment firms or banks. And that's how I came across Griffin. I've moved to Griffin about 2.5 years ago, and so I've led the team through mobilization and launching.
That's very cool. Has it been? I mean, you've obviously you've done a few of these authorization processes, but how has it been for you personally going through this kind of mobilization and growth journey with Griffin?
it's obviously a learning journey for all of us, but it's also incredibly exciting. Not many people out there can say they built a bank successfully. So I've got that going, and we all have. But obviously, it comes with it's challenging, and yeah, and I guess that the exciting bit is when we overcome the challenges and show that our business model really works.
Yeah, that's the satisfying bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, we can't do a podcast nowadays without talking about AI. um, we launched our MCP server last week, and obviously it's only in the sandbox at the moment. But from your perspective, AI must be like a really it must be very strange. No, it's like both very exciting but also potentially very terrifying. How do you see it? How do you approach this technology or any kind of new technology in your role?
Oh, I obviously chief risk officers are seen as people who are, you know, really conservative and all that. But it's true, I do like Volvos. Uh, uh, but obviously, working for a new bank, your latitude has to be big. Because we have to take risk to be able uh, to innovate, and AI is just an example of what's coming out there, and kind of being on top of your game is actually moving with AI and embracing AI. So I think AI is reshaping the financial sector. You are seeing the FCA and the PRA talking about that. They promote efficiency, accuracy, and improve also any risk management process that can be done easily, more easily by a machine. And I guess that innovation is also, you've seen through history that innovation is what kind of brings economic growth. So we think AI is going to be the next big thing. It's already the next big thing. And it's in financial services, it's helping with fraud prevention and real-time transaction monitoring, which supports compliance, making processes easier. And also, it has the potential to improve customer outcomes. Because people want things faster and more accurate, and that helps with that. I guess for the risk and compliance world, it is very exciting because it allows humans that work in the second line of defense to shift their focus from repetitive processes that could actually be done by the machine to actually do the things that they're supposed to do, which is step back and think about those still events that I was talking about earlier, which is thinking about the crystal ball things where severe, high impact, but an event that if it were to happen, it would shake the company or impact consumers. So about the second line, well, it kind of means the ability to maintain their independence more clearly, and instead of kind of ticking the box because it's what they're required to do, a chance to step back and apply hindsight and a more strategic role, which they're supposed to do anyway. Obviously, there's also scares that I think when something is new and fast growing, there's a real risk of an uncontrolled growth, and that something is disseminated so fast that it grows faster than the systems and controls you have in place to manage the risk it poses. So, and it takes a while for risk management and regulators to catch up. And while the risks that AI poses are really not new, it's data, privacy, modern risk, information security, cyber, consumer duty, operational risk. They're all kind of the same risks that have been always there. But there's a need to integrate AI-led processes in the wider risk management framework. So how we balance the fact that AI produces things much faster and better performing models with the ability to actually explain what the AI is telling you is crucial here. Because one thing we know is that no model that has a bad input will have a good output. But if you then can't explain the model, you'll end up with a black box, which is not, which leads to poor management decision, bias, which we want to avoid, and obviously poor outcomes for consumers, which we want to avoid. Now, the thought that we may be thinking that the machines can 100% replace humans is also not going to fly, because machines are not senior management function holders. We cannot just blame the machine. There's still people who need to make sure that they take reasonable steps to prevent intolerable risk. And for firms to demonstrate that depositors can entrust their money to them. And also, there's another one. I was talking. I was talking in an event some time ago, and I was talking to David yesterday about. There's also environmental concerns. I have a daughter doing GCSEs, and I asked her why she wasn't using AI to revise, and she was not. She was very happy. She said, "I will not kill the environment." So because of the water it uses. So I guess that it's very interesting to see how new generations are going to cope with the inevitable. And then these new generations are coming into financial services to help making people happier and with products that make them happier as well.
I mean, it's a really good point, and I think there was an article a few weeks ago saying how when a user says please or thank you in the prompt,
Yeah,
it uses up all of that energy in
I
the data
am to blame.
centers. Yeah,
I used to say please and thank you to the machine.
so did I. I was like, I feel like I'm talking to a human. I should be polite here, and then
Uh,
I kind of realize, oh no, it's not human.
yeah, I know. I don't do it anymore. but but I still think it's the Britishness. Which is a good thing. It's good to be polite, right? But yeah, it doesn't help the environment. It just adds more
Yeah,
to it. Yeah,
but it's really interesting what you say about it's the same risks, like
yeah,
just kind of with a different technology and a different speed of growth, maybe
yeah,
than we've seen before. Um, and yeah, it's a very good point. I often find myself when I use it, one of the things I like about the fact that we've like kind of put out help guidelines for ourselves internally is like always make sure you check it. It is this black box, and sometimes the hallucinations are very, very dangerous,
yeah.
potentially. Um, so
Yeah, you
yeah,
can't let the machine decide for you.
no,
Even if sometimes the machine, there's a good thing about the machine, which is there's no bias, but also who it's programmed by humans, so it could build up a snowball of
yeah,
bias, and we don't want that either. We want decisions to be fair to consumers.
it's a really, really good point. Um, how would you give advice to other kind of risk and compliance professionals to approach a new technology and approach AI
Yeah.
in their institution?
So I think that AI has the potential to change the profile of the people you should hire. When I finished university a long time ago, knowing Monte Carlo simulations was the thing that sets you apart, that used to set you apart. No, it's not that anymore, because the machine does that much better than any human could. So for me, it's more about looking for professionals that at least vaguely understand the machine. They don't have to do it in detail, because the role of risk and compliance is not replacing the risk owner. The risk owner is always the SME. But knowing how the process works does require you to know a bit about how the machine works. But also, as important as that, and probably even more at this point, is looking for people who have soft and multidisciplinary skills, that have the ability to have the hindsight, and that is really valuable in risk management. The scars also count. So being wrong once helps you to make better decisions, which means that you're learning lessons, which is great, I think, in everything in life. I guess the other thing as well is that for risk and compliance professionals to build their knowledge, to be able to challenge, and obviously you will be able to effectively challenge risk in a better way, but also overseeing how the business pulls together AI consistently across the risk management framework. And how we use AI in the way we manage risk and apply that framework is critical. But because what you don't want is uncontrolled growth, as we were saying earlier. Uh, I guess the other thing as well is experience will continue to be critical in risk management, and the ability to think beyond. And sometimes intuition is important. Just having that gut feeling, as I was saying, the crystal ball sort of thing. A machine can be telling you 95% probability of that happening. But there are things where you don't have data for that intuition matters. So I don't think they should fear it. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. So you might go ahead and make the best of the game and be ahead of the game and make it the change in a controlled manner to your advantage. And you actually take reasonable steps to protect the farm and consumers. I'm quite happy if AI wants to come and just do my washing for me. I don't see that happening, but I'm quite happy to do that. But yeah, but I think it's great, and we should all embrace. And the more we are, instead of avoiding it, the more we embrace it, the faster we are prepared to challenge.
I think that's a really. I don't know if the audience listening uh, will relate, but it feels like such a practical kind of modern approach that you're taking, and sometimes like with the
Yeah,
um,
most people don't do that. You can say it. You
at
can
least
say,
at
oh
least
yeah, buzz
but
killer in chief.
I think you make a really good point. This is going to happen whether we, you know, whether we embrace it or not. It it almost feels like um, yeah, it almost feels inevitable. And as you say, maybe the better approach is to put the controls in place around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember about 2 years ago, I was
Mm.
holidaying, and I was talking to a friend who still works in consultancy, and uh, she was talking about the use of AI and all that. And I suppose that was I had been using ChatGPT to tell me what to cook for dinner. Uh, and I thought, well, I never thought about what he could do. And then all you need is, to be creative. AI has learned so much, and in 2 years, the amount of things that AI could do is amazing. So, but with that also comes risks, and I think the role of the risk professional is not really to say no. That's not the job. Sometimes it could be to lead you to say no, but but it's not even about that. It's about understanding if you really know the risk you're taking. Because if you don't really take risk, you will not have profit. And sometimes that's why we're here to in the end of the day to make a profit and make life easier for customers because we really are. Is I know it's in the regulation that we have to do it, which is great, but it is for us, at least at Griffin, we really want that. We want people to have good experiences because a happy customer is a customer that will return.
It's very, very wise advice. That makes a lot of sense. And I can also say that my mum has been asking about the robotic AI machines to help with the washing.
Oh, maybe I
I'm like,
should be looking into that. I don't think my dog would like that. Just would bark all day long, But yeah, I think I should obviously do some research after this.
um, talking about our MCP server. So for people who might not know what that is, it's essentially a way for AI models to talk very easily to our banking API. So you could use something like Claude, um, and you could say to Claude, open a bank account, and Claude will know which part of our API to talk to, and it will open the bank account. Now, obviously, at the moment, this is just in the sandbox because we want to test and see what happens
Yeah.
and see what have we missed. How can we make this um, a really great experience, like you were saying, and what are the risks involved? Um, from your perspective, Dora, like what needs to happen still before this could potentially get into kind of widespread adoption?
Well, I guess the first thing is we will not launch unless we are certain that it
Yeah.
creates good outcomes to our customers, or our customers' customers. So we will obviously assess risks that are posed by the server, and what else, if there's anything else we need to do in terms of systems and controls to mitigate the risks, or are we happy to accept them? And I guess that um, if I were to give some advice to our customers, is for them to do that, and to assess the risks before they use it, because that nobody can replace the knowledge you have in your customers. So I say, yeah, that's always going to be the answer of a risk manager. Have you assessed the risk? But it's true though, and document it. More importantly.
No, I mean it makes a lot of sense, and I think this is where, for me personally, it, I think yeah we don't necessarily know all of the risks, and this is why it's great to have that sandbox environment to test these things, and for people to be able, for our customers and our prospects to be able to essentially mess around with this thing and be like, oh, I spotted X, and if that
Yeah,
was in production, if that was in moving real money or real bank accounts, that would have been a real problem.
that's right.
Yeah,
Testing with
yeah,
data is
yeah,
the best way of assessing risks,
yeah,
because you can see how how the risk materializes over time in the risk
yeah,
profile without actually causing an impact.
yeah,
But of course, I guess what we're doing is something that is inevitable. People
yeah,
will want to use it. So I think for us, we just need to make sure that what we launch is safe for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Dora, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think I'd never worked in a bank before Griffin, and I I didn't know really what to expect from a risk and compliance function, but I had a lot of maybe bad
I
misconceptions. But
mean, yeah, I
it's
know
been
everybody does.
it's not like that. I can genuinely say it's not like that at Griffin, and I think that's down to your leadership. So thank you
Ah,
for making
yeah.
us all. Yeah, all we're all first line, and thank you for taking such a practical approach. Yeah,
No, that's fine. The other thing as well before we go,
yeah,
it's important that our customers calibrate the data
yeah,
before they launch this
yeah,
server, and have the human overlay, so so that the machine is not left to make decisions that humans should. I thought it was
that's
important to
very
say that. I feel much better because I said it. Are you probably going to cut all this?
absolutely no. It's called Griffin Uncut. For you, we would have made a special exception, but I don't think we've got any, any bad material. But yes,
Um,
that is very good advice. It will be on the transcript. Humans must make the final call.
Yeah, humans must make the final call. Please think about your consumers, your customers, the same way as we think about them and you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
so. Yeah. And thank you so much for inviting me. It was very
Awesome. Thank
exciting.
you.
Very different morning for me.